FiveThirtyEight has just released their official polling averages for the Georgia Senate runoff elections that will determine control of the United States Senate on January 5th. As mentioned here, no candidate in either of Georgia's Senate races won a majority of the vote on November 3rd, triggering a runoff for both seats, with the top two candidates in each race facing off. Control of the Senate now hinges on the outcome of these two races. Now, if you aren't familiar with FiveThirtyEight, and specifically how they calculate their polling averages, it is typically based on a combination of factors. That includes recency, historical accuracy, interpreted and historical bias, as well as a number of other formulas adjusted to make the average more representative and accurate. One such formula is what they call house effects, and that one is especially present in this Georgia runoff average because of the limited number of highly graded and unbiased pollsters for this cycle. Essentially, house effects are systematic tendencies for polling firms to favor either the Democratic or Republican candidate. This article from Nate Silver at FiveThirtyEight was posted in 2012, but the theory remains the same in 2020 and beyond. Fairly often, what is perceived as a change in the polls is really just a reflection of these tendencies. A polling firm that tends to show favorable results for, in this case, say Jon Ossoff, might survey the race one week, showing him 3 percentage points ahead, while a different polling firm that usually has favorable results for his opponent David Perdue comes out with a survey the next week, showing him up by 2 points. Rather than indicating a change in voter preferences, these results may just reflect the different techniques and assumptions that the polling firms have applied. I'm going to try my best to zoom in here so that you can see the house effects for pollsters in 2012. As you can see, some polls favored Democrats by lengthy margins and some Republicans, while some were relatively in the middle. In this article, Nate Silver continues to delve deeper into this formula and offers more examples, but due to time constraints, I am just going to link this article in the description below, so feel free to read through that if you're still confused or just interested in general. The last crucial thing that you should know about this formula, however, in order to accurately assess these averages, is likely voter adjustment. Historically, in presidential election years, polls of likely voters have been about 1.5 points more favorable to the Republican candidate than registered voter polls. The FiveThirtyEight model uses this 1.5 point adjustment as a default, but updates it as new polls become available that provide for the comparison. Now, given that this was written 8 years ago, I cannot attest to the accuracy of this data, but my educated guess would be that it was relatively similar for the 2020 presidential election, and again for these Georgia Senate runoffs. Going back now though to this page, which features all of the polls FiveThirtyEight is using for their averages, we can make some assumptions for house effects simply based on the adjusted leader statistic right here. The first polling firm that really displays a partisan house effect is Trafalgar Group. As you can see, in their poll conducted from December 14th through 16th, David Perdue's 3-point lead shrinks to a tie because of their historical tendency to favor Republican candidates versus the polling consensus. Furthermore, Kelly Loeffler's whopping 7-point advantage over Raphael Warnock is adjusted down to just 2 points when you account for their tendency to show favorable results for Republicans over Democrats. You will also see that this is the case for their previous 2 polls as well. This one from December 8th through 10th is adjusted from a tie to a 3-point Ossoff lead, and from a 3-point Loeffler lead to a 2-point Warnock lead. Then finally, their poll from the first week of December is adjusted from a 1-point Ossoff lead to another 3-point Ossoff lead, and Loeffler's 5-point lead is adjusted to a tie. The best example of a polling firm favoring Democrats over Republicans is Data for Progress, which is considered by some to be a Democratic internal polling company, but their poll from November 15th through 20th, so over a month ago now, saw a 2-point Perdue lead increase to a 4-point lead, and a 3-point Warnock lead adjust to a tie. Hopefully after all of that, you understand this method by now, and we can finally dig into the actual averages, which are based on all polls conducted since the general election on November 3rd. First of all, the Senate currently stands at 50 Republicans and 48 Democrats. If Democrats win both runoffs, the party will have control of the upper chamber because Vice President-elect Kamala Harris would break any ties. But if Republicans win at least one of these two races, they will maintain control. So starting with Georgia's regular Senate election, where Republican Senator David Perdue is running for re-election against Democrat Jon Ossoff in a regularly scheduled election. As of recording this video on December 23, 2020, the incumbent Perdue holds a very slim 0.4 point advantage at 48.8% to Ossoff's 48.4%. Keep in mind that this race is only between these two candidates with no third parties involved. That means that the final results will add up to exactly 100%. And as of right now, the two polling averages sum up to only 97.2%. So on average, 2.8% of voters are undecided. And in a race that is expected to be as close as this one, those 2.8% could be invaluable to the outcome. The last time that either candidate held a larger than 1 point lead was exactly 1 month ago on November 23rd, where Perdue held a 1.9 point advantage. Although to be fair, that was at a time where very few polls had been conducted, 3 to be exact. And just yesterday, December 22nd, the average was reversed from today as Ossoff led by 0.4 points. For all I know, I could wake up tomorrow and Ossoff will be in the lead again. That is just testament to how incredibly close this race has been and will be. Moving down to Georgia's special Senate election, where Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler faces Democrat Raphael Warnock in a special election. Loeffler was appointed to fill former Senator Johnny Isakson's seat after he resigned in January of this year. As it stands though, Raphael Warnock has a half-point advantage over the incumbent Loeffler, as he holds 48.8% to Loeffler's 48.3%. That is almost the exact same margin and numbers as the regular election, but Kelly Loeffler holds just 0.1% less support than Jon Ossoff. Unlike the previous average though, Warnock actually maintained a pretty firm lead, relatively speaking, through the first 2 weeks or so of December. He hit his peak margin of lead of 3 points on the last day of November, but that started to trend downward, and on December 18th, Loeffler took back the lead by just a few tenths. I'm not entirely sure why it is the case that Loeffler has climbed back into this race, but it is clear that the difference between her and Perdue, and Warnock and Ossoff, is not quite what it was made out to be. For a long time, odds favored a split ticket result, where Perdue and Warnock were victorious, but as of late, it has been basically a 50-50 split in both of these races. So we'll have to see where things trend over the next 2 weeks and what kind of poll results and early voting data we receive as well. I will try my best to remember to link both the article and this page in the description below, so feel free to check that out if you would like. Also, let me know in the comment section what other videos or analysis you want to see regarding the Georgia runoffs and in general related to future elections, this past election, or anything in between. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it down below if you did, as well as subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out more content from my channel here, and as always, tune in next time. EP out.